statement about the victory.
Oh, I was going to say Happy New Year. Yeah, I mean, I told him it's hard to win Division I basketball games, and Butler made us sweat it out for 40 minutes, so credit to them. I thought, to come in here without their best scorer, probably their best player, and compete like they did is a testament to, how prepared they were and how quickly they got over, their game the other night against Seton Hall. So, yeah, I mean, I think you can probably tell I'm not super pleased with that. I thought Jayme was outstanding. I mean, she really made some great plays. Morgan got us off to a really good start. And, but we're going to have to be, quite a bit better than we were defensively. They scored 40 points in the second half, shot 63, almost 64% from the field, and got to the line 13 times. So we're going to have to, we just had way too many mistakes and breakdowns for a veteran team. And when you made the mistakes that we made for a veteran team and you kind of give them enough easy baskets to keep their confidence up, I thought that was a big piece of why they kept staying in the game. The first play of the second half, I had addressed what they had run that particular play twice in timeouts in the first half and then at halftime, and we gave up a layup, and that's why I used their timeout 43 seconds into that. I said, I don't want to do that, but if you want to be an elite team, I can't have given you a reminder 3 times on how we're going to defend that play, and we don't defend it the right way. And so there were multiple instances of that. And so it was, look, like I said, I'm glad we won, credit to Butler, but we're going to have to be quite a bit better to achieve the goals that we want to achieve.
I guess for starters, what do you think you guys were doing well from an execution standpoint to build the big lead in the first place?
I feel like I felt that lead grow when we got out in transition and just made simple plays. They wanted to slow the game down, and I feel like they did that kind of with their pressure and containment in the second half. Yeah.
Morgan, at what point did you realize that you guys were in that flow, and then could you put your finger on anything that got you out of it? You guys didn't make I think you had free throws, but you didn't make a bucket from 5:23 of the second quarter to 5 whatever of the third.
Yeah, I remember looking up at the scoreboard and it was 25 to, I think they were at 9 or something. And then we ended the half not scoring 10 more points, and I don't know what changed. I feel like maybe some things were forced, or we were just taking advantage of early looks, which we didn't do in the first few minutes of the game to get high percentage shots.
You feel like you guys were getting good shots and they just weren't falling, or?
That's some of it.
Jayme, they cut it to 5, and I think you and Kennedy made a couple extra effort plays on the offensive glass in particular, and just kind of in the open floor. Did you and her have a sense that the game was kind of grinding to Butler's preferred style, and that you guys were going to have to make something happen to stretch it back out?
Yeah, like Blaine said, they prepared for this game really well, and both Kennedy and I know that we know our roles on this team, and when it comes down to those things, we're gonna go to the offensive board, all that kind of stuff. So you can sense it when things are starting to not go our way, and when you do need to make that little extra play, and even if you're tired, find it in your tank to put it out there for them. But I thought Kennedy did really well in the third and fourth quarter of doing that, and it kind of set an example for the rest of the team to get some O boards. Mal got some, I got some, so she kind of set that tone. So I thought that was really good.
Jimmy, I think they cut it to 6, and then Kennedy hit that 3, and you had the pick 6. How big was that sequence for you guys to, 1, see a shot go in, and 2, have a little bit of momentum when they kind of fall back into it?
Yeah, I think that was really huge. They were in a flow, so it kind of put them to a stop of that, but it also gave us the confidence, we still have this in the bag kind of a thing. So we just got to trust what we prepared and all the preparation we've done in the past few months.
They did another comeback, and then you get the layup, and you got a couple deflections in the lane off of those cuts they were hurting you on throughout the game. What was your kind of mindset down the stretch in terms of what type of plays you needed to make to win the game?
Just try to contain the moment. That's it. Just be active.
Anything further for the student athletes?
Does anything big picture that he's talking about resonate at all in terms of, well, you did what you needed to do to win this game, just given the circumstances they were dealing with in terms of the type of team you guys want to be? Does any of that stuff come to mind in terms of what he's talking about yet?
Yeah, I said it to the team at the end of the game of like, way to pull out the win, but if we want to be at that level that we all think that we can be at and beat those really good teams that are in our conference, like that stuff that we just did on the court isn't going to fly. And yeah, we won and everything, but I think a lot of us are kind of having it like kind of boiling right now of we didn't play the best, and yes, we won, but at the end of the day, like we have very high expectations for ourselves, so we just got to kind of figure out what we need to do to take that next step when we do play UConn and all those teams that are down the road.
Is that a good spot to be in? Mad after a loss, upset after a loss?
Learn from lots of things.
I think it just shows that we care. Yeah, you want to be the best you can be.
Jayme Morgan, thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Over the floor to questions for Coach Flanery.
This isn't the first time you try to teach a lesson like that in a game with timeout 43 seconds and you're supposed to let them work things out. But I guess to your point, the frustration had been building. What did you sense at that point that you felt like it was necessary to reiterate some things?
Yeah, like I said, if you ask my wife, I'm really good at being repetitive. And I was repetitive about the particular play that they got, layups on in the first half. I addressed it during 2 different timeouts. I addressed it again at halftime, and then it might have been the second play of the second half, the first. And they got a layup with just no awareness of, and so, and we start, 4 fifth-year seniors and a junior, and a third-year junior. So it's like, I wasn't irate. I just say, look, we can't be a great team and have that breakdown, 40 seconds into the second half when it was the one thing that I had, I'd addressed other things, but gosh, that play 3 different times, I said, look, this is what you have to do, and we didn't do it. So, yeah, I was frustrated.
What was your read on just kind of the flow of the game? You had 3, 4, 5 minute scoring droughts, but then also you guys went on some big runs. Just kind of, what was your read on how the game was going and why that happened that way?
Yeah, first of all, I substituted more liberally, obviously, in that second quarter, and probably hurt our rhythm. But I also felt like, we've had some kids continue to practice the right way. The game was in a position where I felt like we could do that. But I thought looking back, I thought it kind of compromised the rhythm that we had through the first probably 12. Like Morgan said, we had, to be up 25, we were up 19, and then at half it's 12, so it's, and then you can't play as big a rotation necessarily in the second half. So, I don't know. You always, as a coach, you second guess things like that, but at the same time, you have kids who work hard, and if you can get them 2 or 3 minutes, but it wasn't just that. We missed some shots, and I was not displeased all that much with how we played offense. It was more just I felt like we had, we had too many turnovers. We had a couple moving screens, and we got to get away from that a little bit. But I asked them after the game. I said, what are some of the things that, just being ready on a baseline out of bounds play. Like we were not ready on a baseline out of bounds plays, and we switched. We just didn't defend out of bounds plays the way we talked about. And so it was more about just our defensive awareness, I thought was way below what it needs to be for us to be. Because you are, your point, like we're going to be a little inconsistent offensively because, I mean, Morgan made everything early and then she made, I think she made 5 of her first 7 and one of her next 8. Well, that's basketball. Maybe, she got to move it a little bit during that 1 for 8 stretch, but, she got mostly good shots. Lauren, same thing. Lauren, missed a couple wide open threes, and if she makes maybe one more. So I wasn't displeased too much with offense. It was more about just where we need to be defensively. And, but yeah, I mean, but there were some bright spots. I thought Jayme was great. Like I thought Jayme was, 21 minutes was a lot for her, but I felt like we needed her out there today because she was doing things at both ends, and she's a great communicator. And I thought Mal was really good, 5 assists, 1 turnover. She had the one late that really probably didn't matter, but like she's, she made a lot of good plays. So there were some bright spots for sure, but we're gonna, and like you said, Kennedy hit a couple big shots, the 1-3 where they cut it, and having her getting her more comfortable, making plays in the fourth, not just being in a game in the fourth quarter, but making plays in a tight game. I mean, that's a great sign for us going forward that you can have her do that. But yeah, and then the other part, like, like most every coach talks about, I thought we let our offense to some degree affect our defense, and then we whined a little bit too much to the officials. I mean, that's got to be, like, a veteran team's got to be above that. I mean, as good of a standard as I set for that, it's just disappointing to see it in our players. Head coaches are supposed to be able to. We're the one person that's supposed to be able to argue and make complaints. But yeah,
I'm sure most of this is kind of baked into what they're like when they're healthy, but they were the best offensive rebounding team in the league coming into this game. You guys won that battle, and you outscored 92 in second chance points. And look at the math. Like that might be the game right there, just in that little area, especially late when. Yeah. I mean, I think
Jamie's fall of basketball,
Jamie's
like
fall
you said,
on
Kennedy's offensive rebound,
yeah.
the Mal tip to her. Those are good signs. I feel like about 60 is probably 5 or 6 of our last 8 games we've been better on the offensive glass. Like we need to be even more consistent there because we don't get quite as many easy baskets as a lot of teams. We don't have a low post, we don't have a low post game. I've said we're not quite as good a passing team as maybe the team that we had, the Elite 8 team. We just don't pass it quite as well, so we don't get quite as many easy baskets off cuts. So getting second chance points is huge, and to, like you said, to get to 9. I think we had 3 straight games in December where we had double figure second chance points, so that's kind of become our what our goal is to get double figure second chance points, and I think 9's pretty good. So,
Glenn, what did you see in that stretch where you guys couldn't get anything to fall?
Yeah, I thought we have to move bodies a little bit better than when we're at our best. It's not just moving the ball, it's moving bodies. I think, and when we get a little tired, that's a little harder to do. I thought, Butler's got good length. I mean, they have good length. They play a lot of 5'10", 5'11" kids, and I thought, they disrupted us a little bit more than I had hoped just with their length, and they switched on. It's funny when teams play Creighton, sometimes we're guessing on whether they're going to switch or stay on off-ball screens. So they're traditional. I mean, when you watch them against most teams, they stay on off-ball screens. But in the when we played them the second game last year, they switched everything because we screen a lot more off the ball than a lot of teams. So we're still guessing, okay, coming in this game, what are they going to do? And sometimes it takes us a while to adjust, or we do adjust, but then we don't stay committed to, hey, they're switching, we've got to take advantage of switches, and we can do that, but yeah, we just got to get more easy baskets, I feel like, with just being a little bit better passing team, honestly.
I know Lauren kind of took herself out of the game with some frustration late, but she did the 2 big threes and dimed a pocket pass to Mal that, just helped you.
4 seconds too late. She had her wide open and then she held it, and I was like, okay. I said to the staff after she made that, I said, that was 4 or 5 seconds late because Mal was open for 3 seconds before she spotted her.
But those were
Yeah.
big stabilizing plays from
Yep.
your veteran primary
For sure.
ball handler. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
in terms
the
of
one
all
she
the
hit-
frustration she had to deal with, how did she?
Yeah, the one she hit in front of our bench was a low right wing 3 where she jabbed a couple times and hit it. That was, there's not a lot of players that can make that shot. And then she had another one, not long after that. And it had the one wide open one off the baseline out of bounds play, and the one, but yeah, I mean, you still, even when she scuffles a little, you still want the ball in her hands a lot because she's just special that way in terms of being able to create a shot. And she got a little sped up off the dribble a little bit, but you think, you look at her 22 points and 5 assists, and you're like, well, because I'm thinking, well, she played okay today, right? But most people would be pretty happy with 22 and 5 assists. So, yeah, she made some big plays to push that thing out to double figures, and then like you said, she, that 5th foul she can't have. I don't know. But that's where I say I thought we let frustration get to us a few times with the officials, and we got to be above that.
I know you probably wanted to start the new year off in a more impressive, cleaner fashion from an execution standpoint, but as you sit, 11-3, 3-0 in the league, with the way your schedule might shape up here the second half of the year, how do you feel about your team so far right now? Obviously, this performance is going to be fresh in your mind in terms of cleaning things up, but how do you feel about the group right now?
Well, it's hard, I guess, would I like to feel better about the way we played today? Yeah, but I also know that it's, Butler was 10-3. They are, they probably played better today than they did the last couple games. So you got to give them some credit, and it's hard to be, the Saturday, Wednesday schedule. It's hard to be as good as you want to be every night out. You listen to Mac after the game yesterday, and he's like, sometimes it's just not your day. I heard him say on the post game on my drive home, and it's like, but you got to find a way to win, and that's kind of what we did. We weren't as clean and sharp as we're going to need to be, but you have to win 3 or 4 or 5 games a year like this that go from a pretty good year to a really good year, or a really good year to a great year. You have to win, when you don't have your best stuff, and today we did. But again, I don't want to discredit what they did, but we'll have to be a little better going forward. Make our players know that.
Any further questions for Flynn?
Thank you, guys. Happy New Year.
Thanks, Blaine.